Assalamu alaikum all. Sorry to keep you waiting. Today, the most important chart is the same chart from yesterday, but today we have a different result than we had yesterday. So the probability for a 25 base point cut fell today from the 80% I told you guys yesterday to around 60% in December. This comes on the heel of PPI results that met forecasts. And so we were good on the PPI front. But then uh, Fed Chair Jerome Powell opened his mouth, and the markets didn't like that. So he mentioned that the strength of the economy could warrant some patience with future rate cuts. And the market responded to that and lowered the probability that it's pricing in for a December rate cut. He mentioned the strength we are currently seeing in the economy gives us the ability to approach our decisions carefully. Now, if you ask me, I still think he's going to do the 25 base point cut in December, if for nothing but to appease what he knows Trump wants him to do. And Trump does not believe in the independence of the Fed, and he is a sort of business first, stock market first type of president who really gauges his performance as a president by how the stock market is doing. So he's going to want an interest rate cut. And there's no love lost between Trump and Jerome Powell already. I don't think Jerome Powell wants to, get started on the wrong foot with his relationship with Trump. I do think that a 25 base point cut will happen in December. It's interesting if you look at the Kalshi betting odds for a cut versus no cut in December. They basically match what we're seeing on the CME uh, Fed Watcher tool, with a probability for a cut of around 61% versus a probability of just keeping the interest rates where they are at 38% or 39%, just about. So you saw this dip here from where we were yesterday. So again, we were close to 80, and now we've dipped to 60, and that took a toll on the market today. If we look at the market, it was pretty much all red. We had a few green spots in the market, but even those green spots were quite modest in how green they were and how much gain those particular names experienced today. Looking at some more details, if we look at the Dow Jones, it was down 0.47%. NASDAQ was down 0.66%. S&P down 0.6%. And Russell was down 1.35%. The VIX ticked up a bit, 2%. So a bit more nervousness in the market, but nothing really that dramatic. I still think, overall, what regime we're in a bullish regime. And that's really the job of the investor, I think, is to try and assess macro level what regime is the market in. And I think we're in a bullish regime. And therefore, days like today, when we get a bit of nervousness and we get pullbacks, are days to add. And especially when you have names like Tesla, for example, down 5% today, we're able to pick up some shares of Tesla for less than what we took profits on, or the price that we took profits at last week. So that was good. This is why I sometimes do these, small movements where we take some profits, so that if we do get a pullback, I can feel better by buying back into the positions that I sold. Tesla historically out of all of its quarters, Q4 is the strongest quarter. It reports earnings mid-January. I do think that earnings will beat expectations, and it will be another sort of catalyst for the company. And therefore, I think it goes much higher. Like I said, I do think that we may be looking at a $400 stock here in January. So, not financial advice, but that's my prediction. And so I'm looking at these pullbacks as opportunities to add more. I understand there's probably some frustration here with regards to Bitcoin miners because they are at valuations, even if you look at a market cap basis, that they've are not at all-time highs, whereas Bitcoin is at an all-time high. And some estimates I've seen average out the price for mining Bitcoin at around 80,000 if you looked at all Bitcoin miners. And so now Bitcoin's price has exceeded that level, which means that these Bitcoin miners are basically printing money. And this is the period of time when Bitcoin miners, the business of Bitcoin mining really makes sense. And then it's really tough, the majority of the time. But this is the one time in the cycle where Bitcoin miners' business makes a lot of sense and is, cash flow positive, is profitable. Now, if you look at previous cycles, you understand that oftentimes the Bitcoin miners will run 4 to 6x what Bitcoin does, but they tend to run at or near the euphoria phase for Bitcoin. And if you look at Bitcoin right now, I don't think we've reached that phase just yet. So, again, here I'm taking opportunities for pullbacks to add more because I think that there's more room to run here in this cycle. We're not at the top. Doge is at 37 cents. Sol is at 211. I'd be remiss not to mention our promotion that's ongoing, 35% off for a limited time. Use code BULLRUN24. Thank you, Maru, for your review with PIF. I'm finally profiting for the first time in my 7 months of trading. I joined PIF on 10/10, so been with PIF for just a little over a month, and I'm profiting even though I have a small account. That's awesome to hear, Maruf, and welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. Now, if we look at the very near term for Bitcoin, we do see, yes, the inflows into the ETF have been quite healthy. You can see these very tall green bars. We've broken all-time records in terms of inflows since the inception of these ETFs, and we're probably going to get to something like 100 billion in assets under management for ETFs, which far exceeds, I think, the expectations of, the most bullish of bulls last year. But if we look at from day to day, we are seeing less inflows, and that may be followed by a bit of a pullback in Bitcoin's price. Obviously, tomorrow may come and change this trend. But so far, if you look at previous times when the inflows into ETFs has fallen, this has been followed by this has marked a local top and a fall in Bitcoin's price. So we may get that in the next few days. I don't think it's anything to panic about. I think we'll recover quite quickly. There are so many different catalysts for Bitcoin that I think are going to start piling up here. If you look at the RSI, so the relative strength index for Bitcoin, we are in close to anything above 70 is often referred to as overbought. So we're at 74 right now. We're in overbought territory, but we're nowhere near where this thing typically peaks out, which is above 90. So there's a lot of room to run here. But as you can see from previous cycles, it doesn't go up in a straight line. And neither does anything go up in a straight line. So again, I don't think it's anything to worry about. One of the catalysts that I'm keeping a very close eye on, because I think it's a catalyst that may be on par with the ETFs themselves, which is, and it's probably bigger, because if you think about it, talking about 100 billion that flew into the ETFs since their inception. If something like a national Bitcoin reserve were to be established, how many billions of dollars do you think are going to flow into not only the US national Bitcoin reserve, but other Bitcoin reserves? And then with these reserves, they're never sold. It's like a black hole. Once they go in, there's no taking them out basically for many, many years. ETFs are not like that. There's inflows and outflows. So this could be, as big as the ETFs themselves. And I don't really think the market has responded with a high degree of confidence that this happens. I think if we get to a point where there is a high degree of confidence that this happens, this thing could go really crazy. So if you look at the probability right now on Kalshi for will Trump create a national Bitcoin reserve, it's right at 55%. So the market is saying it's basically a coin toss with regards to whether or not this happens. But I have a feeling that this might happen. I mean, President Trump has said he wants to do it. They have the House and they have the Senate. So now's the opportunity to do it if ever there was a time. So with that being said, let's go to questions. By the way, if you enjoyed this live, do leave a like. I honestly think that I'm not sure about this. I don't have evidence, but I wonder if the results for practical Islamic finance are being suppressed somewhat. I I get that feeling in X, and I'm starting to get the feeling in YouTube as well. So to support the channel, do leave a like and subscribe, hit the notification bell as well, in case that is happening. Again, I don't have solid evidence, but that's kind of how I do have anecdotes of people telling me that they're not seeing my videos, but I don't really have, you know, uh, a double blind test of, what's, I didn't run a proper experiment to figure out if I am being shadow banned in some way or somewhat suppressed in terms of the reach of the channel. So do support the channel. I'd really appreciate that. Going through questions. Hassan says, Salam. Alaikum salam. By the way, wa alaikum salam to everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. All right. I did address Tesla. I see Rashad and Zuhair, gaming with Fahad. Rashad says, Rakan, how would you recommend to expand investment in crypto beyond the big names? Please don't mention Ethereum. Well, Rashad, I think that it's appropriate to start looking at, some of the risk reward profiles for other altcoins. Again, focusing on, I think, the category of meme coins, but it can't be just a shot in the dark. There has to be a reason for, why you think that this particular meme coin is going to do well. You have to be able to see, 2 or 3 catalysts in the next few months, and have enough information about them to assign probabilities to them, and then you can make an informed decision about whether or not buying at current prices makes sense or not. And so that's really my focus. And so I have a short list that I'm interested in, and perhaps we'll have more information on that. Pakhtun Pasha, I hope I'm saying that right. I'd just like to shout out because it's the first time I'm seeing your name. Wa alaikum salam. I see you, Dr. Khalid. Yeah, that's a very important point. So MOK says it's very hard to hold on to profits and not jump right back in. Made a lot of these mistakes in 2021. This is such an important point because oftentimes when you sell and then it runs up a bit, you're like, oh man, I wish I didn't sell. And then when it falls to below your sell price, you jump at the first opportunity, and then it keeps on falling. So this is why I started this live saying that it's very important to understand where we are in the cycle, or what regime is the macro in, and act accordingly. And I would prefer selling before the top than selling after the top, because typically prices are taking the steps on their way up, but they take the elevator on the way down. So if you're trying to sell when things are falling, you're going to get a really bad price, and you're probably going to, uh, panic yourself out of a position at a very discounted price. If you're selling on the way up, I think you can make more rational decisions that are more profitable. So I don't try to time the top, because that's impossible. So the question in my mind is, do I want to exit before the top or after the top? And the answer that I found I've been most comfortable with is I want to exit before the top. And so if it continues going up, that's fine. That doesn't mean if it goes below my sell price, I'm going to jump right back in. It's very important to understand where you are in the cycle and not get greedy, and have goals and stick to them. If you've met your goals, khalas, you don't have to take more risk. Khalas, you met your goals. I have goals for my net worth that I like to reach periodically. Once I reach those goals, I take risk off the table. There's no reason for me to continue to accumulate risk. Why risk falling below the goals that I set for myself? With regards to MicroStrategy, I've passed on MicroStrategy because of their use of debt, and any business model that I see that is reliant on debt, interest-bearing debt, is a business that I avoid for halal-conscious considerations. When do I think miners will peak? If I had to guess when I thought miners will peak, I think we end this year very strong. I think we probably get a pullback in January, maybe starting mid-January, 2 to 4 weeks, and then we run up again, and we probably run up harder, and then we peak April, May. If I had to guess, that would be my guess. I don't think we're overvalued like in 2021, because I think that where we are in the cycle is different than where we were in like November 2021. Thanks for that. Niznaz says, Assalamu alaikum all. May all your moves be great moves, inshallah. Ameen ya Rab. Thank you, Abdul. Alaikum salam. I'm I'm interested, is what I'll say. That's with regards to Tonguecoin. I'm interested. So it appears that Muhammad Hussein is asking, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam, is there a chance the 7,500 federal credit will be removed for EV purchases? It appears that the Trump administration is moving towards removal of EV incentives, which is very bullish for Tesla, because Tesla is the only company that can remain profitable without these incentives. And the only reason other companies are even bothering with EVs is because of these incentives. If these EV incentives are to be removed, then these other companies are going to pull back on their actions in the EV space, and Tesla will, I think, solidify and perhaps expand its market share, especially in the United States. Yeah, the promo code I shared, Bullrun24, you can apply that either to PIF Premium or to Elite. Thanks, Eunice. I really appreciate you saying that. He says, Salam. I always appreciate these lives. I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you. I don't think solar powered vehicles will work. Right now, the physics doesn't work. There's not enough surface space for that to make any sense. I don't. I've seen a lot of very bearish near-term targets for Tesla stock. I don't think it goes down that much. The most I think it goes down maybe 250, but not much after that. Like I said, they report earnings mid-January. Historically, Q4 has been their strongest quarter. Their last earnings report was amazing. They have now their CEO is probably the closest person to the president, the incoming president. So I think that, and they have so much going for them. I actually got an email today saying that in my area, they were doing demo drives for the cyber cab. So I'm going to sign up for that, and maybe I'll take a camera with me. Oh, that's awesome, Shoaib. Thank you for saying that. Shoaib says, Salam, brother. I've been an elite member for the last 2 months, and it's absolutely worth it. I have made multiple times my membership fees in PLL alone. Executed lots of trades based on your watch list. Well, that's amazing. Thanks, Shoaib, for sharing. Walaikum salam, Nadia. I think the advantage that Iris Energy has is in the land and its access to power. That's the advantage that it has. In terms of Bitcoin miners, if I had to rank them, Bitdeer and Iris Energy were the top. And this is actually according to VanEck's latest report on the matter. They were the top in terms of both currently sort of accessed power supply and what is in their pipeline. So I think that will be a very important factor for Bitcoin miners. I just don't. I don't really feel comfortable with stop losses because, typically speaking, my investments are longer term. They're not trades most of the time, and when I have a thesis about something, it doesn't change because of price action. So if I have a thesis about something that is trading at 10 and it starts trading at 8, then I'm not going to change my thesis because the price changed. So at 8, it's even more of an attractive buy to me. It's not less of an attractive. So why would I sell at 8, which is what a stop loss does? I think the only time like a stop loss would make sense is that if you're investing in something, you anticipate an event to happen. It could go one way or the other. And you know that if it goes, opposite to what you're hoping for, then um, it's going to go down a lot, and therefore you put in a stop loss at that point. So you say, okay, well, I don't know what the future event is going to manifest to be, but in case it's an adverse event, I'm buying because I think it's going to be a positive event. In case it ends up being a negative event, I want out of the position. But I never invest like that. I never do like event based investing in that manner. So that's why I don't use stop losses. So for people asking me about price targets and my portfolio composition, top cryptos, all of that, that's what our PIF membership is for. You can follow my trades, follow my portfolios, you can follow my price targets as they change. Our deep dive analyses into different assets, all of that can be followed by becoming a member. The promo code, you can, it's in the description actually. So you can find it in the description. It's bullrun24. You can use it to sign up either to premium or elite. All right, guys. If you are a member and you're looking for my input on hymns, do check the email that I sent to members today to see my most recent assessment about it. And if you're not seeing the email, make sure that your email provider is not sending it to junk or something like that. You may have to change your settings. So check your spam, check your junk folder, whatever, and just make sure that you uh, uh, designate our email as a trusted email so that you get all of the emails that we send, the trade alerts that we send in your primary inbox. And then also, if you're not in our Discord, make sure you join because a lot of information is shared in Discord as well. So make sure you join our Discord. It's a big part of the membership. It's a big part of the benefit. Honestly, there are so many smart people in our Discord, always sharing really awesome insights that I benefit from. And so I'd really advise you, I mean, you bought the membership, make sure you join our Discord. It's only 2 steps, so everyone should be able to do it. If you're not able to do it, make sure you email us so we help you out. With that being said, make sure to leave a like, hit the notification bell, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I hope you found this live beneficial. Until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.